Okay, hello. Hello, everyone. Lovely to see you, to be with you. Hello, Holger, Nathan, Charlie, Mark, Holly, Ola Vicky, Ola Freddy, Patrick. Hello, Manish and Jenny. Very lovely to be with you. So just to remind you that we'll be, for the first part, following a guided meditation, and then you're welcome to pose whatever questions you may have. Turn your attention to the source, to presence. In this moment, I am. I am present. I hear these words. Just rest as this presence. Notice the breath. The sensations of your feet on the ground. Hearing these words. Nothing that you need to do. Simply resting as being. No particular technique. Nothing that you need to remember. As this presence, there is no separation. There isn't a me and a you. An effortless tranquility. in which no one is trying to do anything, right? Because there is no separate doer, no separate listener in this moment of being. There are no borders to awareness. Such a freedom. Allow the breath to expand in the space. So that you and the breath are expanded, free. Give your thoughts their entire freedom. No opposition. Nothing to figure out. Awareness is open. Without a history, without a personal agenda. Our true home which is ever present, ever available to us as our very being. You cannot leave yourself. You are this transparent, aware presence, this borderless awareness. It takes on the form of this hearing. It takes on the form of breathing, sensing, raining, winding, universing. Out of itself and to itself. From itself and in itself. You are never anything else but this transparent awareness. You have never been a woman, a man, a person, an object. Sensations and perceptions may appear to you, within you. But they do not define you. You do not need to define yourself in any way or refer to yourself as somebody. So that every situation you are childlike, fresh, listening, fresh unfolding, not knowing, and yet the full presence of being. Somehow it magically works. Pure being, undefined, unstructured. You know, the body-mind is structured, but you don't need to identify yourself with the structure of the body-mind. Because you limit yourself by defining yourself and identifying yourself in whichever way you do. Okay, so if you have any questions, anything that you would like to share, explore, make sure you unmute yourself, and you're welcome to turn on your video so we can see each other. So any questions, anything that you would like to. Hello, George.
Hi there, Magdi.
Hey, George.
Hi there. I wondered if you could talk about time. I know that in my direct experience, all there is the present. And in the present, I have memories of a past. And I mean, I've heard people say that the past doesn't exist or that these things really didn't happen. Can you talk about that? I really don't. I don't have any questions about the future. that seems pretty clear. There is none.
Yes.
I mean, no, I accept it's a concept. But anyhow, can you talk about the past? And does it make sense to talk about this event happening and whatever?
Yes. There is ample evidence for the past of the planet, for example, geological evidence for carbon dating of other fossil evidence of the past of empires, the Roman Empire, that various parts of the world, there are Inca and other Egyptian, other cultural evidence of the past. There is geological evidence of various times where the Earth was going through some major changes. There is also evidence of the past of the body. We have videos and photos of when we were children and teenagers, etc. So there is a past to the body, is a past to our family. You know, we have the tree of the family tree, and all of these things. But there is no evidence whatsoever of the past of consciousness. When you look at your experience in this moment, which is the experience of presence, awareness, Satchit, the amness and knowingness, when you look at your experience right now, which is that of awareness, you don't find a history of awareness, because you don't find any evidence that awareness has a beginning. So therefore, there's no evidence that it has an ending or that it exists in time. So there is that time, the time that we perceive. We perceive sunrises and sunsets. We perceive memories of breakfast this morning or other memories which are current, images that appear to us about when you were children, etc. But all of that, arises within awareness, like you experience right now. The experience of awareness right now. Awareness is not in time. In other words, it's not an observable. One could say that everything that is observable unfolds in time and therefore in history. But that which is unobservable, not observable, I don't mean phenomenally, but it's beyond the phenomenal realm, which is the noumenal, the reality of awareness, of consciousness, that is not in the realm of observable. Of course, there are many events occurring in the solar systems, or beyond, in distant galactic realms that are not observable, but they're still phenomenal. And in time, with a certain advanced instrument, we may be able to detect some of their evidence, but you will never detect any evidence of awareness and consciousness, because the reality in shifting. It's non-phenomenal. It's a non-phenomenal reality of being. So I don't know whether you had some other intention or meaning in your question.
I don't think so. I think you've answered it. What prompted the question is I've heard non-duality teachers say, well, there's no past. And I think I now see what they mean, in the sense that all there is consciousness. And in that sense, consciousness is only now. So I understand what you're saying in terms of phenomenal experience, in terms of memory. We have memories of the past, we have evidence of the past. But I'm seeing what you're saying, that in terms of pure consciousness, past, future makes no sense.
Right. Right.
Okay, good. Thank you. I think I got it, unless I'm missing something. I think I got it.
And from the perspective of the peace of being, the peace of being doesn't unfold in time. It's not dependent on time. Consciousness doesn't depend on time. One could say that perceptions depend on consciousness. The perception of time, the experience of time, the conceptualization of time, the sense of feeling of time. All of these depend on awareness, presence. But consciousness doesn't depend on the phenomenal realm that it perceives. So from that perspective, consciousness being the diamond of the facets of the diamond, being freedom, peace, happiness, wisdom, intelligence, the aspects of consciousness, happiness, peace, love, beauty, do not depend on time. They're not time dependent. And that's very important to comprehend that, because sometimes we confuse a certain state, which is basically a mind event, a feeling, or with happiness. Sometimes we confuse happiness or peace to be in time, and so we are seeking it. When we are seeking happiness in time, we have downloaded a phenomenal envelope around consciousness, around happiness, around peace, and we are in the wrong understanding about peace and happiness. So peace and happiness, and love and beauty are absolute, and they're as absolute as consciousness, because they are just facets of consciousness. They're absolute means they are not in any way dependent on time or space.
Very good. Thank you, Magdi. Thank you.
Okay, George. Any questions?
Yes, Magdi.
Ethan.
I have a question. I know that from more intuition, it's nothing I can prove or anything, but just by a conviction, inner conviction that I'm not described in any way or in any terms, that I'm pure presence. But there are times of stress, especially emotional stress, where there is something in me that visualizes the transparent presence almost as if but feeling like I'm projecting something. And it does help. It does help to expand something, to be this transparency, and I feel walking in it, breathing in it. And there's immediate relaxation, but it's still a kind of visualization. How can I relate to it? Because in a lot of these metaphors, the borderlessness, the expansion, the space, the presence, this transparency, I feel I'm almost visualizing it in some ways. And yet there is this confusion I feel somewhere, somehow, that it's still an experience. That I make something, that I do something with imagination.
Mm.
How do I approach the more deeper, truer aspect beyond visualizations, beyond imagining myself to be that? Because there is this really deep understanding now that experience appears. And I feel sometimes maybe in some ways I'm seeking relief from emotional difficulty and contraction by almost creating, or is creating by itself. I don't know exactly. Maybe it's a little ploy of the eye and it's been watched.
So, you are overthinking. So a certain situations arises to you, whichever way, contraction or something seems to be on deck. You can be freshly with it in the moment. You don't need to have a program to deal with it, because you already have the understanding about your true nature. Allow the understanding to live itself and to guide you in the moment, not out of something that you know, but allow it to guide you out of its very being, out of its very nature. So in the moment, you don't know what that moment is, if there is any direction that the universe wants you to take. You don't know, but because you are not separate from the universe. All is done already. Whatever direction the universe wants to take and will take, it will take it through you, with you, via you. Don't have a Shangri-La space in your mind. Don't divide your experience into transparent and non-transparent, because then you're carrying some luggage. You're not being in the complete not knowing. So don't try to figure it out. Allow life to figure it out. And it's going to figure it out with you, because you are not separate from life. And allow it to take you where it takes you. If it's through some tranquil or some turbulent, don't oppose it. Don't try to guide it. Align yourself with life according to life's conditions, not according to your own. Especially your spiritual self. Sometimes this spiritual self is appropriated by ignorance. Just be as you are, as nobody in particular.
It's very,
Undefined.
very,
Undefined. Effortlessly so. The effort is in trying to be somebody. The effort is in trying to remember and follow some guidelines. Try to be spontaneous. Which may include being still and silent. We don't know. There is more in not doing than in doing.
it's very helpful, Magdi. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I get it. I get it.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Any questions?
Hello, Magdi.
Hello, is this Holly?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I do, Holly. Hello.
Hello, hello. So something you said just now was about trying to be spontaneous, and there's more, to paraphrase, there's more power in not doing than doing. And I think that encapsulated a little bit of maybe confusion or something that I feel right now, because I do understand that, as you've said before, and I've heard elsewhere, that God isn't asking us to jump through hoops. But at the same time, I don't know how exactly one tries to be spontaneous without some kind of effort.
Mm.
So I don't know, maybe this pull between doing and not doing, and what does it mean to try and not do, because that feels like
Right.
an effort too.
Yes, yes. Okay. It's not so much about trying, maybe exploring, or wandering in a certain direction. So the interest is it possible to be freshly this moment? What is it? What's the significance? What is the, how does it fit? How does the suit fit in terms of being freshly this moment? It's an interesting question, because the habit of the mind is moving. It's moving in time. It's like it's moving in time, and it's in the business of trying to protect and defend and advance what I imagine, some imagined me, some imagined bundle of personal self. It's more like our habitual way of sort of living, operating, listening, perceiving. It's this is stuff on deck, and it's about me as whatever it is at this moment, which you may not even know. It's just some sort of sense. So then the exploration is, okay, fine. So I get it. I'm familiar with that model. So what is it like to sort of just be freshly this moment, and sort of, it's as if you sort of maybe pause, pressing the pause button on and the movement of the mind on behalf of the me. It's like saying, okay, well, let me explore just being freshly listening, sensing, exploring this moment. Well, I have no idea what it is, where to go, how it's going, but obviously here I am. And here is whatever it is that is. So here I am as presence. I have no idea what that is, but it's not like being Holly of yesterday or 5 years ago. It's a fresh being, fresh moment of being. So it's just I am as blank, not I am as ... I am as presence. As presence. Why? Because there is awareness, and there is the knowing, there is the amness and knowing that I am. So we're coming to the amness, to presence, and the knowingness. I am aware. Here I am. There is awareness. There is awareness of amness, awareness of being. And anything else is an add-on. But what is not an add-on is being awareness. Because even this conversation, you say, well, there is this conversation. That, if you take a close look at it, even that is an add-on. Why? Because the words that I uttered a second ago are gone, and the thought that you had a second ago is gone. See, so you can't even hold it, put it on deck. You can't put it on deck. You can't put the very words I just uttered on deck because they're gone. So what you're left with is awareness, presence. So in a way, it's like it's an invitation to is it possible to sort of be as awareness, presence, and to see in the moment how awareness, presence chooses to manifest. And right now it's choosing to manifest these words. It's speaking these words, obviously it is. In different situation, you may be, I don't know, looking at a certain some choice you have to make. Then how does this awareness, presence in the moment, how is it unfolding? What is it downloading? Because it could download the thought of, okay, well, maybe I'd like to go for a walk, whatever. Yeah. Depending on what the situation is, there is the internal, there's a fresh internal message that comes here to examine. You may choose, no, that's not what I want to do, because that would be the next thing that consciousness is choosing. No, that's not what I want to do. I don't want to go for a walk. So it's like being on the tip of a sort of almost zero thickness landscape, and at the same time you're navigating it. You're navigating it because you are the reality of consciousness. You are that which says, yes, I want to go for a walk. No, I don't want to go for a walk. The thought appears to you freshly in the moment, this moment. So it's the spontaneity is not I, Magdi, or I, the person, is being spontaneous. Oh, how I'm going to try to be spontaneous. How do I try to be spontaneous? Because as soon as you go to me, the character, you've moved away from spontaneity. In fact, you've moved into a storyline and imagined world of where some fictitious character is now trying to figure out how to be spontaneous, but that fictitious character doesn't exist in the true spontaneity. So the true spontaneity is not a spontaneity that requires effort or a trying or that requires time. It's a spontaneity of that is not in time. It's a spontaneity that is not in time. So what does it mean in terms of at the mind level? You say, well, okay, I don't know what it means, but I'm open to living in this spontaneity and as a spontaneity of being, of presence, which does not mean a reactive, spontaneity may include that, well, okay, I'm just going to pause now. I'm pausing with such and such a situation, because even the decision to sort of not to make a move, not to decide, is spontaneous, can be a spontaneous decision that's arising. And if it's arising and when it is arising in presence, in not knowing, in the spirit of pure creativity. So spontaneity and pure creativity they're the same. There's creativity in spontaneity, and creativity is spontaneous. It's not rehearsed or studied. There may be rehearsing and study of the rendering of it, but the action, the spontaneous action, is pure creativity. So it's not about somebody being spontaneous or somebody being creative. It's God being spontaneous and creative moment by moment. And we are this reality, the reality of awareness, of consciousness. And so then, and we can notice how there is a tendency to repeat in our habit, a tendency to repeat. And it's not like we're trying to squash repetition, but just to sort of notice, because there are some repetitive behavior that is called for. There's some other that one may wonder about. We may be interested in taking a look, saying, wait a minute, maybe is there another way of being? What's at risk? What's at risk in suspending the repetition? Suspending the repetition is not like an effort, it's more an interest. The interest arises out of noticing that there are certain patterns. So you notice a pattern, and because you're interested, then you're investigating. So wait a minute, how can I can understand that, for example, patterns have a repetitive aspect of defending, that they're maybe trying to defend, protect something. But it's also at the feeling level. Then at the feeling level, can we explore at the feeling level to sort of pause this inner tendency to engage the machine, to engage the pattern at the feeling. But the feeling level is fascinating because it's an inner work. It's a silent, quiet inner work that gives you immediate results. You immediately sense the effect of not engaging in the same pattern at the feeling level. So whenever there is a trying, I would take a look at that, because in trying.
Welcome back to another episode of Tesla Talks.
Oh,
I'm in the
sorry
Tesla.
about that.
Let's talk Tesla.
In the trying, there is a personal intention, and most of our personal intentions are tainted by ignorance, by the belief that I awareness, I consciousness exists in time and space, is a person.
So another thing that's coming up that I'm noticing is a painful narrative, and I recognize that it's whatever it is. So when I was a teenager, I was a churchgoer, and I went to the kind of Baptist church where there was this kind of ecstatic experience that was sought out. That was a part of, asking God and Jesus into your heart, and something was supposed to happen when you did that. And so during that time, I tried very hard, and I prayed regularly that God would come into my heart, and nothing really ever happened. And
no, I disagree. I disagree. God definitely came into your heart.
So maybe that's a good pointer already, but I had this expectation based on what people around me were saying, and this sort of thing.
Yes.
Of what should happen. And I felt very sad. I didn't know if I was doing something wrong or this sort of thing. And I can just feel this similar narrative right now that again, maybe it's, even as I'm saying it, I can see the narrative of separate self or whatever, but anyways, it's just causing me pain, this idea that I'm here and I'm earnest and I'm, have a teacher and all of these things. And I guess maybe there's still that expectation of something happening, and this, I don't know, fear that it's not happening. And again, even as I say it, I know already what you said, that God did come into my heart, and I know kind of the silliness of it, but for some reason I'm in it. And I even find myself sometimes, still, when I go to sleep, still getting into that mode of praying and saying, what do you need from me?
Well, Holly, I wish that there were people that can have just a little bit of the love that you have for truth. I've known you for many years, and you stick with it. You are on track. But yes, somehow the mind likes to operate in time. It says, okay, well, let me see, it's been so many years, how many more years, blah, 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 blah. You know, we get wiser to the movement of the mind. We start to sort of see through it and the power that it had in the past about, oh, you know, about me in time, like a horse, you know. We become wiser to the operations of the mind. We sort of start to see it. Oh, yeah, there he goes, you know, again, saying, creating, it sort of assumes that, you know, it starts with, oh, you're lacking. Okay, this rule number one, you know, you're incomplete. Okay, you get it? Yes, I got it. Okay, fine. So now let me tell you what you need to do in order to become complete, you know. But we become wise to that because what we talk about over and over and over is about our true nature, about true self, the reality that right now is, that perceives, that hears his words, that is, I know I am. Before I know I am holy, before I am this or that, Baptist, whatever, I know I am. This awareness, this aware presence. That is so rarely spoken of in religions, you know. I mean, religions say about whatever practice this, practice that, and at some point in time you will gain a certain experience, blah, blah. But rarely do we speak about presence, awareness, that I is this awareness. So and that's not something we're trying to improve. You know, it would be foolish to be talking about improvements, you know, of improving I, improving presence, improving awareness. So this is really what we are talking about, you know, really what we're talking about. But thoughts about me in time, it's just inner weather. It's an inner weather. It could be an old inner weather that's arising again, you know, from being younger, teenager, whatever. These thoughts arise. We start to see them as being just an inner weather. They don't define what you are. What you are right now in this moment is not defined by anything. It's not defined by thoughts, by memories, by experiences, by a great feeling. It defines itself. It's defined by its very being. By the reality is its own proof. Reality is that which cannot not be, that which knows itself beyond anything else. Nothing knows itself outside of reality. Only I know I am. This presence. Now, of course, you know, we try to improve the body, we try to improve the mind, we try to improve life. No, it's normal. We take care of things. But don't make the mistake of trying to improve yourself. because that would be foolish, because you'd be starting with, I'm a defective self, I need to improve myself. I don't even know what that is. That would be some sort of madness. And I know most 7 billion of us are mad in a way, in that respect, trying to improve ourselves. You can't improve yourself. You are the self. Self is, awareness is, presence is. So trust that, trust your understanding. You already have that understanding. Maybe you need to visit it again and again. You actually do. You're very regular in attending these meetings. It's really, really beautiful, because trust, just showing up to these meetings, showing up and resting as presence. Resting as presence. Presence, maybe it's a little fickle. It takes its time. It's still playing the me game a little bit, you know. Okay, let it play the me game a little bit. It's playing the me game for a little while. But it can't win. The me illusion cannot win. Once understanding has started to bloom, it's just a matter of time for it to, the perfume of the blooming. It's just a matter of time. And I often say it's a journey of love. It's not a journey of impatience. Impatience belongs to the old pattern. Oh, when am I going to get this and that and that and that and that and that? The worries, the concern, the contractions. So we don't engage in that game too much. We can experience that game arising, starting to arise, but we don't ride that pony. We don't go full force on that ride. No, we see it happening. Say, okay, interesting. Because we're transparent. So we're transparent to all of it. We're transparent to also this me movement, the movement of ignorance in the universe. We're transparent to that. We sense it arises here. But what we also have is the understanding about being. So trust your understanding about being. I wish many had the dedication that you have, Holly.
Thank you.
Please pass my greetings to Emma.
I will.
Any questions? Okay, well, thank you all. Lovely to be with you. Nice to see you, Charlie, Virginia, Vicky, Holger, Nathan, Frank. Hi, Eric.
Good to see you, Magdi.
You, Eric. Hello, Manish, Patrick, and George, and of course, my sweet Tara. Thank you all.
Thank you,
Thank
Magdi.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Magdi.
Thank you.